Welcome to the Lockdown Economy, a social non-profit initiative by the think tank AlterContacts to help small businesses and self-employed professionals overcome the challenges of the pandemic and reactivate the economy. My name is Karen Rickes, and today our guest is Amie Mignatti, who is a certified nature coach based in and around Munich, who organizes nature-based outdoor programs for children and families. Hello, Amie, how are you today?
Hi, Karen. Thank you. Fine.
Excellent. Amie, we're so glad that you're with us again, because this is actually your second interview with Lockdown Economy already. For those of our viewers who are new to Lockdown Economy, could you tell us a bit more about your business, please?
Yeah, I do a couple things. So I run nature classes, families, women, and children. Yeah, the women's more like I do in France. And then I do weekend courses for children and families in Munich. Yeah, on the weekends and during the holiday times. So I work mainly outside, and then I teach yoga one night a week.
Okay.
So
really
yeah,
nice.
At this point, I'm also writing a book, but that came a little bit later. So yeah.
Very interesting. What is the book going to be about?
The book is with a famous TikTok star from Australia, and we're writing an English grammar book for Germany. So for 4th and 5th graders.
I see. Very interesting.
It's actually came after the last interview I had. So it's kind of crazy time.
For sure, crazy times for all of us, I think. So now that you've mentioned it, it's been a couple of months since your first interview. How has the pandemic affected your business since?
I've really thrived. In the beginning, it was for me because everything was shut down, and I'm not one to work online because I get people outside, and I don't believe in doing online courses for nature. It goes completely against what I'm about. So I had to really think about what I could do and how I could make money. I got no small business help from the German government, which had been promised. And what you read in the news is not reality. I have to say that. So that was kind of a big disappointment for me because it had really no income. But we had the rule here in Germany that you could meet one person from another household could meet together. So one household and then one outside person, not one other houses, because I have a really beautiful forest space outside of Munich with a fire pit, and it's in the middle of the forest and it's private. And so I started to do private family classes. So I would meet with one family, so it was within the rules, and it took off, and I'm booked out now until the end of October with these. I mean, I have a lot of other things going on in between, but I started this in the middle of January. And last weekend was my last weekend before I can start to run my own children's and family courses in groups again. I can start that this weekend. So that really helped. It's still, I mean, financially it was okay. It was enough to get me back on my feet. Yeah, and so it just took me being creative, and I learned later that I actually really wasn't supposed to be doing that. Because government with one other person, but it still fit in the rules. So I've found that if I strictly, then would be out completely. I have kind of been working within the rules, but within the professional rules. So it's been a big challenge. And I think that it's, I don't really understand kind of what is going on, is why, of course I understand the pandemic and stuff, but my boyfriend is a filmmaker, and they're filming with 50 people. They're filming, he said he was in the car the other day with 6 people. That allowed, but being outdoors within the rules professionally is not allowed. So there's been a lot of questions that I've had. So I've basically, I mean, I don't know if I should be saying this online, but have kind of stopped rules and keeping within the more of the social rules.
Yeah,
so
I understand.
And that's enabled me to continue to work, because I got absolutely no funding, which was promised to small businesses, which was promised to solo, they call them solo standing in Germany, to one-person self-employed people, and nothing. I was completely refused. Okay. So what do you do? You know, what do you do? Yeah, and it's not only me. I mean, this is the thing. I've talked to a lot of my friends, and nobody's gotten help. Big businesses have gotten help, but not small businesses.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand that. That's of course very frustrating, especially since in your business you're of course very much restricted by all these measures. But it's really good to hear that you managed to come up with the solution within the rules to sort of at least have some sort of offering. That's really good to hear.
Yeah, in the beginning I wasn't sure how to do it. I really didn't know, but I don't know, somehow the light bulb went off, and it was like, oh, okay. And I was very thankful to get outside, then as a family to look forward to do something different, and to just get out of there, you know? And so, I mean, I have had, as I said, I did 4 courses a weekend since the middle of January. Every weekend. I mean, it's been a lot of work for me, but and I'm not cheap, because I mean, I can't be. I need to live. Yeah, it's worked really well, and I found that this you have to meet a need of the people, you know, in a business, like an emotional need from them, in order to be able to be successful somehow.
Yeah, for sure. And I think at the moment you're probably very much appealing to everyone's needs out there, just wanting to get outdoors rather than being stuck behind the computer. So that's I can definitely understand why you were booked out till October. That's good to hear. You also mentioned you also mentioned that you were sort of using Facebook and word of mouth a lot to really get your business out there, to increase your visibility. How are you sort of dealing with that at the moment, now that also I think measures are being eased a little bit in Germany? What is sort of your prospect for the next couple of months?
Yeah, I'm still doing a ton of Facebook work, which is really interesting, because Facebook's like on the decline, but within the parent community in Munich, it's not. So I've tapped into these Facebook groups, these international English Facebook in Germany, and that most of my business comes from. I mean, the rules are constantly. This weekend, I have my first group children's courses, because at the moment, children are able to be outdoors only, up to 20 children in a group, not indoors, outdoors. So for me, this is great. So I can start my children's courses, and they're all completely booked out until the end of May or something. But I'm not sure how much I'll be able to run them, because once the incident rate goes over 100, then we have to shut down. And so the incident rate is still increasing. And so this weekend is fine, but I don't know if I'll be able to do my courses next weekend. So, you know, it's still in a state of flux, but I'm happy to be able to start. Yeah, I mean, everything for me right now, it's going really well. People, you know, I'm not taking 20 children, I'm taking a minimum of 12. And I'm everything I'm doing is completely booked. So I have no problems at the moment. I just need to be able to work, because I think people are very happy to, again, get their children outdoors, because when the kids are inside, they're constantly on the screens all day. They don't want to go outside because it's warm and cozy inside. And I make kids how to make fire without matches. So a lot of, like, you know, stone and flint and wood skills. I teach pocket knife courses. I teach archery courses. So these are all, like, you know, really outdoor stuff for kids, like primitive, if you want to call it that way, kind of skills. So it's really, kids are really interested in it. I mean, they get to use knives, you know, so it's quite fun. And it gives them something to look forward to as well, that they're going to go outside on the weekend and make fire and use pocket knife. It's every boy's dream. And so I think that's also been important to give, because as I said, kids are inside constantly, all the time right now. And they cannot do sports anymore. Maybe that's opening up now too. They can start to play football again, but I mean, they haven't been able to really do any of the sports that they've been used to. And so it's, yeah. So I'm happy that it's opening up now, and I have no idea how the future is going to be. It's still completely unstable, and there's a big question mark, which I've learned to live with for the past year or so.
Yeah, true that. A little bit of uncertainty just sort of comes with the job at this point, I think. I'd be curious to know, because you mentioned that your courses are in English, right? So you're mostly sort of looking for English speaking clients, customers. So is it mostly expats that you're working with, or also just sort of German natives, but then they participate in the English program?
It's both. Well, so some of my courses are just English, and then a lot of what I do is bilingual. So I work with, I have a team that I work with, and I work with a lot of German men. And so they do the German part and I do the English part. So the courses are in both languages. And so we've got everything. We've got a lot of bilingual children, like my daughter. And so she's growing up with both languages, whose parents want them to keep up the English. Some Germans, just Germans who are interested in English, or their parents want them to be more exposed to it. But I would say the majority is just like bilingual children. Very few just English speakers, because they're in Germany, so they should be speaking a bit of German. But yeah, and I'd say there's a lot of bilingual children here, and there's not as many English offers. So this is where I really defined my niche. And then I started working more and more in German, because I realized like Germans wanted to do programs with me, but for me to switch constantly between the two languages is really difficult. It exhausts me. So I started to work with German speakers, and then we split the languages, and it's great. It's been great.
Excellent. That's really interesting. That's good to hear. That you're really sort of able to cater to all language needs out there. So that's really good. Kind of looking back on the last couple of months or this year of crisis, what would you say were some of your biggest learnings in tackling this crisis?
Being creative, not letting the system get you down, because it can be as a completely self-employed person. It can be very easy to be kind of to be pushed down and think like there's no hope, there's no way out, there's nothing I can do, I'm completely shut down. I mean, this is how I was in November. I was really just like, God, I can't do anything, and I had no motivation to do anything either. I was just so tired of it all, And then I realized, like, what are my options? Do I get on the social welfare system, which I don't even know if I qualify because I'm self-employed. I mean, there's a lot of, open mark. I mean, open questions, I would say. I mean, so for me, the financial pressure, I mean, even though I have a partner who can support me, we need two incomes. Our daughter's in private school, it's just, it's not so easy just on one income. And so the financial pressure of all of this made me very creative, because there's always a way to find something to do. There's always a way, and I do things totally legally, and I realized that later, like, but whatever, at that point I was like, I don't really, if I follow their rules, and in the system, I'm going to be like flattened emotionally, mentally, and financially. And I can't do that. So, I made the decision to kind of, work my way around stuff. And I just had to be creative. And that's the only way. It's like, and once I found that creating a need people wanting, that gets more motivation to do more. And I think like when you have that, it lifts your spirits, and then anything that you do from then on out, you're going to get a bigger response, because you're not coming from a place of like desperation and sadness. You know, when you're like, oh, this is great, and you're really excited about what you're doing and motivated, more and more is going to come to you. And that's what I've realized this time, that the kind of the better, the more positive my mindset is, the more positive my energy is, the more I get back. And so it's been, I mean, of course it's been tough, because it's been so uncertain. I mean, self-employed anyway is uncertain. You never know what's going to happen. You know, it's like you don't have this set salary coming in every month, and you know, it's like some months are good, some months are bad. And so I've always lived with that anyway, but this was more extreme. And I just realized that I have to stay upbeat, positive, and creative, you know, and also be okay with not following the rules. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely didn't want to put anybody in danger or anything like that. And so it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to just, you know, screw this and do my courses anyway. It was like, okay, how can I work within the system? And even if it wasn't totally legal, it still was. And you know what I mean? It's like, this is fine line. Like, is it okay? Is it not? Yeah. So that's what's really helped me, is just like trying to find the back way, and not really getting beat down by all of this, because once you do that, you know, it's hard to get out. It's really hard to get out.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, yeah, it's probably quite easy at this moment to, be quite sort of, the opposite of upbeat, so to say, because of the sort of, continuous struggles that everyone is facing. So in sort of, facing that, in trying to be creative and positive, could you maybe name 3 things that you could use help with in the next couple of months?
The next couple of months. I'm not really sure. I feel like I am so overwhelmed with the amount of I have that I could use an assistant probably. Really, I mean, I am on the computer hours and hours a day answering emails. And as I said, I got a book deal in all of this. And I swear, as weird as it sounds, I think it was because I was so like, okay, I can do this. I'm motivated. And suddenly out of the blue, I got this very well-paid book deal. And I was like, that came from like a friend of a friend who had met me at a party years ago, that remembered that I was an English teacher and worked with kids. I was like, what the hell? And so this has really kept me very busy, to where I actually don't have the time that I had in the beginning of the pandemic, which I was very thankful. Like everything felt like before too much, like fast and busy, and now, yeah, it's also overwhelming, but in a different way. And I guess I could use an assistant because I don't really, and maybe more time, you know, but there's really nothing that I need. I don't need anything from an outside source. Like in the beginning, I needed some ideas and like, what can I do and how can I make this work? But I would say at this point, I can't really think of anything except help in a very positive way that I could use.
All right, we'll make sure to put that out there.
Yeah, I don't really have the money to pay for an assistant, but you know.
Maybe a deal can be struck. We'll see how that develops.
Absolutely, I love trade. Yeah,
perfect. Thank you, Amie, so much for sharing your insights with us today. And thank you to everyone who joined us here today. Amie, do you have any last words to our viewers?
No, but I would kind of, along with what I was saying with the positivity, like if people are watching this and they're also feeling very, you know, like helpless and not sure of which way to go, and like there seems to be like the door shut in every direction they look at, to try to remember that there is a way forward. You just have to think outside of the box, because there is a way forward and there is something that everybody can do, but it's just not within the scope of what we're given right now. But there's a lot of possibilities on the outside. So I would really encourage people to not get into the desperation, but to like look further and be really creative.
All right, I think that's a really good note to end on today. Feel free to contact Amie using any of the links in the description of this video below. I invite you to like this video and subscribe to our channel. On our channel, you can find many more insights from entrepreneurs in many different countries and business sectors. So please have a look and stay tuned.